Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight, and I need you to really hear this, not just nod your head to it. Motivation is a lie we tell ourselves when we don't want to do the work. It's exciting, it's loud, it gives you goosebumps for 5 minutes, and then life shows up. You get tired, you get distracted, you get emotional, and suddenly that motivation disappears. That's why so many people start strong and finish nowhere. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline shows up when you're tired. Discipline shows up when nobody is watching. Discipline shows up on the boring days, the hard days, the days where quitting feels logical. Motivation asks, do I feel like it? Discipline says, this is who I am. That's the difference between dreamers and builders. You don't need to wake up inspired every day. You need to wake up committed. The world has convinced people that success comes from passion and hype and perfect timing. That's nonsense. Success comes from doing the same right things again and again, even when they're boring, even when they hurt, even when the results aren't immediate. That's not sexy. That's not viral, but that's real. Here's the truth nobody wants to accept. Discipline creates freedom. When you're disciplined with your time, you get more time. When you're disciplined with your money, you get financial peace. When you're disciplined with your health, you get energy. Lack of discipline feels good today and destroys your tomorrow. Discipline feels hard today and builds your future. Motivation is exciting, but it's unreliable. It shows up when things feel new, when energy is high, and when the vision looks clear. The problem is that life doesn't operate on inspiration alone. There will be days when you wake up tired, discouraged, distracted, or overwhelmed. On those days, motivation disappears without warning. If your progress depends on how motivated you feel, your growth will always be inconsistent. That's why so many people start projects with passion, but abandon them halfway through. Motivation sparks action, but it cannot sustain it. Discipline, on the other hand, is not emotional. It doesn't depend on mood, excitement, or external validation. Discipline is a decision you make in advance. It's the agreement you have with yourself to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel in the moment. When discipline is in place, action becomes automatic. You don't debate whether to show up, you just do. That consistency compounds over time and creates real, measurable progress. Motivation fades because it's reactive. It reacts to wins, losses, praise, and setbacks. Discipline is proactive. It prepares you for difficult days before they arrive. When you rely on discipline, you don't need perfect conditions to move forward. You don't need encouragement or excitement. You already know what your standards are, and you live by them. This is what separates people who achieve long-term success from those who stay stuck in cycles of starting and stopping. Discipline is permanent because it turns effort into identity. When you repeatedly act with discipline, you stop seeing tasks as optional. They become part of who you are. You don't go to the gym because you're motivated. You go because you are someone who trains. You don't work on your goals because you feel inspired. You do it because that's your routine. Over time, this mindset eliminates excuses and builds momentum that motivation alone can never create. That's why discipline always wins in the long run. Motivation may give you a powerful beginning, but discipline gives you endurance. It keeps you moving when progress feels slow and invisible. It builds trust in yourself and proves that you can rely on your actions, not your emotions. When motivation disappears, and it always does, discipline is what keeps you going and turns effort into lasting success. Feelings are powerful, but they are unstable. They change with circumstances, energy levels, and external events. One good moment can make you feel unstoppable, while one setback can make you doubt everything. If your actions are controlled by how you feel, your progress will rise and fall constantly. That emotional roller coaster makes it impossible to build anything meaningful or long-lasting. Feelings react to the moment, but success requires commitment beyond the moment. Habits remove emotion from the equation. A habit is an action you take without negotiating with yourself. You don't wake up every morning debating whether to brush your teeth. You do it because it's ingrained. The same principle applies to growth, learning, and success. When actions become habits, they happen regardless of mood. You don't need confidence, excitement, or belief in that moment. The habit carries you forward even when your emotions are working against you. Relying on feelings feels comfortable because it gives you an excuse. When you don't act, you can blame lack of motivation, stress, or fear. Habits remove that escape. They force consistency and accountability. When you commit to habits, you stop asking yourself whether today is the right day. Every day becomes the right day because the system is already in place. Progress becomes predictable, not accidental. Habits also protect you during difficult times. When pressure increases, emotions often become negative, self-doubt grows louder, and confidence weakens. In those moments, habits keep you moving forward even when your mindset isn't strong. They act like guardrails, preventing you from quitting when emotions tell you to stop. Over time, this consistency builds confidence, not the other way around. You don't feel confident and then act. You act consistently and then confidence is built. Success is the result of repeated actions, not emotional intensity. One burst of passion cannot compete with months or years of steady effort. Habits turn small actions into powerful outcomes by compounding them over time. They create structure where emotions create chaos. When habits are strong, feelings become irrelevant. You may feel tired, unmotivated, or uncertain, but the work still gets done. And that is why habits, not feelings, are what actually builds success. Most people think discipline is a form of punishment, like a set of rules that takes away joy and limits freedom. In reality, the opposite is true. Lack of discipline is what traps people. When there is no structure, time disappears, money leaks away, health declines, and opportunities are missed. What feels like freedom in the moment slowly turns into chaos, stress, and regret. True freedom isn't doing whatever you want, whenever you want. It's having control over your life. Discipline creates freedom by giving you control over your choices before circumstances control them for you. When you are disciplined with your time, you decide what matters instead of reacting to everything that demands attention. That control allows you to focus deeply, build skills, and create value. Instead of feeling busy and overwhelmed, you feel clear and intentional. That clarity opens up space for creativity, growth, and meaningful work. Financial discipline works the same way. Saying no to unnecessary spending may feel restrictive in the moment, but it protects your future. It gives you options. It allows you to take risks, change directions, or walk away from situations that don't serve you. Without discipline, money becomes a constant source of anxiety. With discipline, it becomes a tool that supports your choices rather than limiting them. Discipline in health creates physical freedom. Consistent training, proper nutrition, and rest may require sacrifice, but they give you energy, confidence, and strength. When your body is weak, everything feels harder. When your body is strong, life becomes easier to navigate. Discipline doesn't reduce your lifestyle. It expands it by removing physical limitations that hold you back. Even emotionally, discipline creates freedom. Managing reactions, controlling impulses, and choosing long-term outcomes over short-term relief gives you stability. You stop being controlled by frustration, anger, or fear. Instead, you respond with intention. That emotional discipline builds trust in yourself and in others. It allows you to lead, to communicate clearly, and to stay focused under pressure. Discipline isn't a cage, it's a foundation. It removes distractions, eliminates unnecessary stress, and builds confidence through consistency. The more disciplined you become, the more choices you actually have. You gain time, energy, and opportunity. What once felt like restriction becomes the very thing that allows you to live on your own terms. Talent gets attention, but it doesn't guarantee results. Many people are naturally gifted, intelligent, or creative, yet they never reach their potential. Talent can open doors, but it cannot keep them open. Without discipline, talent becomes unreliable. It shows up only when conditions are perfect, when confidence is high, and when effort feels easy. The moment challenges appear, talent alone is not enough to carry someone forward. Discipline is what turns ability into achievement. A disciplined person shows up every day, even when progress feels slow or invisible. While talented individuals may rely on natural skill, disciplined individuals rely on systems, routines, and repetition. Over time, that repetition sharpens skills, builds experience, and creates mastery. What starts as average ability grows into excellence because it is consistently practiced. When talent lacks discipline, excuses multiply. Procrastination feels justified because there is always tomorrow. Distractions are tolerated because results came easily in the past. This mindset creates stagnation. Meanwhile, someone with less natural talent but stronger discipline continues to improve. They study longer, practice more deliberately, and refine their weaknesses. Eventually, the gap closes, and then reverses. Consistency beats potential when potential isn't worked on. Discipline also builds resilience. Talented people who are not disciplined often struggle with failure because they are not used to resistance. When something doesn't work, they question themselves or quit. Disciplined people expect difficulty. They see setbacks as part of the process, not as proof of inadequacy. That resilience allows them to stay in the game longer, which is often the real advantage. The world rewards reliability. Teams, clients, and opportunities gravitate toward people who can be trusted to deliver, not just those who look impressive on paper. Discipline creates that trust. It proves that you can be counted on regardless of circumstances. Over time, this reputation becomes more valuable than raw talent ever could be. Talent may give you a head start, but discipline determines how far you go. Skills grow where discipline is present, and potential fades where it is absent. In the long run, the person who consistently puts in the work will outperform the one who depends on natural ability alone. Long-term vision is easy to talk about but hard to live by. Most people love the idea of success in the future, but they struggle with the sacrifices required in the present. They want results without patience, progress without discomfort, and growth without consistency. A vision without discipline stays imaginary because it isn't supported by daily action. Dreams only become real when they are backed by choices that align with them every single day. Short-term discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be later. It's choosing to do the uncomfortable thing today so that tomorrow looks different. It's waking up earlier, staying focused longer, and saying no to distractions that offer instant pleasure but steal future potential. These small, disciplined decisions may feel insignificant in the moment, but they compound over time into massive results. Discipline forces alignment between actions and goals. You can't claim to want growth while repeatedly choosing comfort. Discipline creates honesty. It exposes whether your vision is real or just something you like to say. When your daily behavior matches your long-term goals, progress becomes inevitable. Without that alignment, time passes but nothing changes. Short-term discipline also builds patience. When you commit to the process, you stop obsessing over immediate results. You understand that meaningful outcomes take time. This mindset reduces frustration and prevents burnout. Instead of constantly switching paths or chasing shortcuts, you stay focused on steady improvement. That consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds confidence. Long-term success is rarely the result of one big decision. It's the result of thousands of small, disciplined choices made when no one is watching. These choices don't feel heroic, they feel ordinary, repetitive, and sometimes boring. But they are powerful because they move you forward even on days when motivation is low or progress feels slow. Vision gives direction, but discipline provides movement. Without discipline in the short term, the long term never arrives. When you commit to disciplined action today, you protect your future and give your vision the structure it needs to become reality. Discipline is the quiet force that turns intentions into outcomes. Motivation may light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning when conditions aren't perfect. When you commit to consistent action, regardless of mood or circumstance, you stop chasing success and start building it. In the end, the people who win are not the most inspired, they are the most disciplined. Thank you.